So moving to the next page.
James Langdon, sworn witness, is an overseer on Ricane Estate. So he's a slave owner.
He's an overseer on the Ricane Estate.
Wow.
So
That's, yes.
what would he have done as an overseer?
They're not a very nice human being.
Well,
Very brutal, I would imagine.
he would have had to look after the slaves. His job would have been the day-to-day
After.
running of the estate.
Yeah.
So, and part of his responsibility would be punishment of slaves as well.
It would almost be better off if he was the owner, because actually the owner's removed from the brutality, whereas James Langdon is right in the heart of all of that.
He's in the heart of it, yes.
Wow.
Actor Naomie Harris is the star of some of Hollywood's biggest hits.
This will be my third time playing Moneypenny, yeah.
As Moneypenny, she's more than a match for James Bond.
I've always known that I was going to be an actress, actually. I used to hold people hostage in our front room and perform to them. To be honest, I've never, ever been interested in my family history. And then my mum, for my birthday, got me a DNA kit. And it said, like, I was 48% from Nigeria. And I don't know why, but it just had such a huge impact on me. And all these questions were triggered simply by doing this DNA test. We're on time. I'm expecting to find, obviously, slavery, because that's how we ended up in the West Indies. There is this kind of theory in our family that goes around that there's some Irish, so I would love to know more about that. So my mum is from Jamaica, and she came over to England when she was 5 years old. I was close to my granddad because my granddad would often babysit me. I don't know any further back than my grandfather. That's where everything ends. My dad is from Trinidad. He's called Brian, and my dad was not part of my life growing up at all. You know, if you ask me about my dad's family, I know zilch. So it's going to be quite interesting.
To begin her research, Naomie wants to see what her dad can tell her about his family.
I really know nothing about my dad and his side of the family. And we've been in contact, I would say, a handful of times. Hello. Nice to see you. All right.
Okay, come in.
Thank you.
This is my mum and dad, Barbara and George.
Looks a lot like you.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. My mum was born in Guyana and went to Trinidad as a child. And then my dad was born in Grenada and went to Trinidad, because I think he went when he was about 15, 16, something like that. This is the letter he wrote asking to get engaged to her.
Oh,
You should read that.
goodness.
Dear Madam, I deem it a privilege and also a pleasure to write this letter to you in connection with your granddaughter, Barbara. I've known her for the past 6 months, as you're aware, and after only 6 months, wow, and after having studied her character and whereabouts. Her whereabouts? What's that about? What is that about?
I bet that means her bum.
I've come to the conclusion that she is the one whom I would like to be my better half in life. Wow. Number 10 Main Street, St. James. So that's where your mum was living at the time.
Yeah, that's in the capital, Port of Spain.
So how many children did they have?
There was 8, but
Excuse me?
8 of us.
8?
Yes.
8 children? I had no idea.
Really?
No. 8 children.
So when did you come over? How old were you?
When I was 7.
Oh, you came over when you
Yeah,
were 7.
This is me and
Oh my gosh.
my other brother when we just came over.
And where were you initially? Were you in North London?
We lived in Hornsey, Then we moved to Muswell Hill after
Oh,
that.
God.
That's it, and they stayed in that area.
They stayed in Muswell Hill
Yeah,
the whole time?
yeah,
So they never moved?
no.
Wow, so they were just up the road from me.
You could
throughout
walk.
my entire...
Yeah.
Gosh, it's all coming out now. Jeez, wow. So that's so weird that I never ever met them and we were so close.
Yeah.
We were probably streets apart. That's weird.
Yeah.
Wow. And do you know any further back at all about where the family comes from?
Not really. I mean, you'd have to go to Trinidad to my older brother, Saba, and he would be able to give you a lot of helpful information.
Great, I'm up for that.
Yeah, I bet you are.
To find out more about her dad's family, Naomie has come to Port of Spain, the capital of Trinidad.
When, my dad showed me the pictures of George and Barbara, my grandparents, I expected to feel more, but I didn't. It felt like being presented with two strangers because I've never heard anything about them. I didn't even know that their names were George and Barbara. I knew absolutely nothing. And yeah, that blows my mind that I never ever saw them. And we never ran into each other. They never came round to see me that was quite shocking.
Naomie is visiting Main Street, where her grandmother Barbara lived at the time her grandfather George was courting her.
Hi.
She's meeting her uncle Saba.
Hello.
Lovely to see the young lady. Beautiful.
Good to meet you. Oh, so nice to meet you.
Same here.
Oh, thank you so much for doing this.
Naomie knows her granddad George came to Trinidad from Grenada as a teenager, and she wants to learn more about his family background.
I know nothing about George.
My father was a jovial person. He would drink and have fun with his friends and gamble, and he was a great dancer. Well, this is the birth certificate of my father.
So the date and place of birth, the 24th of April 1922 in the district of St. Andrew in Grenada. His father is Wilfred Clark, who was my great-grandfather. Rank or professional father, chauffeur. So do you know anything further back than Wilfred?
Yes, well, we know that Wilfred's father, Charles William Wallace Clark. According to my father, he was born in Ireland.
So Charles is white Irish, and we don't know who he married.
His wife, I don't know anything about her.
Okay.
But I know she was a Grenadian, an African Grenadian.
Oh, really? I heard that there was some Irish ancestry, but I hadn't ever known where that came from.
Okay.
But now this makes sense. It was really wonderful meeting Saba because I haven't met any other members of my dad's side of the family apart from my father. So it was really special to meet him. He's filling in all these huge gaps that I have in my history and my knowledge about my family. So it was really, really important. I'm really excited about heading off to Grenada because I've never been at all. I don't know anything about it. And I'm excited as well that I'm just such a hodgepodge of different islands make me up. You know, I'm a true island girl. I love that.
To trace her grandfather George's side of the family, Naomie is leaving Trinidad and heading 100 miles north to the small island of Grenada. She's on her way to St. Andrew's Parish on Grenada's east coast, where she knows her granddad was born. She's hoping that historian Angus Martin can tell her more about George's family background.
So with Charles William Wallace Clark, my great-great-grandfather, we know that he's Irish, so that means that he came over from Ireland to Grenada.
We know that he was white.
Yeah.
He was born here, it seems.
Oh, he was born here.
Yes.
I see, I see. And I know that he married a Grenadian woman.
Yes.
How unusual would that have been?
Not as unusual as you might think. You know.
Right.
Throughout history, you do see quite a few of those marriages. But in this period, we're probably seeing a little more of them.
Do we know anything about her? Do we know her name?
We know her name, Aunt Sophia.
Anna Sophia, okay.
She would have been a housewife. And really, she does not show up in documents much, which is sad.
So sad.
It is.
Naomie's great-great-grandfather was Charles William Wallace Clark. But contrary to the family story she'd heard, he wasn't born in Ireland. His wife, Naomie's great-great-grandmother, was Anne Sophia.
In what we've been able to uncover about Charles, you get the idea that he has an important role in society. And I would like to share with you the information from the Grenada Handbook.
In 1897.
This is like the phone book of the period.
So there are lots of Clarks here. That must be him.
That's him.
Yes. Clark CWW, and he was an overseer at Mount Horn, St. Andrews. So what did that mean exactly at that time?
The overseer basically runs the plantation. They're in charge of the workers and the production.
But these would have at this time been free workers?
Yes, yes.
Naomie's great-great-grandfather Charles was an overseer in 1897, over 60 years after the abolition of slavery. But the role had its origins in the era of slavery, when overseers gained a reputation for cruelty and brutality. Angus is taking Naomie to see Mount Horn, where Charles worked. Up until the middle of the 19th century, Grenada's main crop was sugar. But when prices plunged in the 1840s, this estate, like most on the island, faced financial ruin.
I would like to share this with you. This is looking at a number of plantations. This is 1890s.
Yeah. So there we have Mount Horn.
So that's the number of acres.
360
At
acres.
that point, yes.
And producing cocoa.
Right.
Okay.
Cocoa was becoming the big crop.
So they're producing 660 bags.
Right.
Bags like this.
Bags like this, yes.
Of cocoa.
Charles, your great-great-grandfather, would have been the one that basically supervising all of the production.
Charles was part of Grenada's cocoa boom, which tapped into a growing Victorian appetite for chocolate. The golden bean rescued the island's fortunes. And by the early 20th century, it was one of the world's largest cocoa producers.
I have one other document to share with you. Take a look.
Okay, the Grenada Handbook, 1921. St. Andrews. Secretary, Town Warden and Collector of Jetty Dues, C.W.W. Clark.
So he had worked himself all the way through to become the town warden. So he was like the highest official running the town.
Right. Oh, so he and his wife are really...
They've arrived.
They've arrived. They're living at large.
Right.
I think Charles was really industrious, worked incredibly hard, very ambitious, and I really respect that. Charles being an overseer isn't really problematic because obviously he was an overseer at a time when workers were being paid. But then when we go further back in history, then we're obviously delving into the era of slavery and
I'm really not excited to. I would not be excited to discover that I'm related to some slave owner and who had done some not very nice things to lots of, slaves.
Naomie wants to see what she can discover about earlier generations of her dad's family. She's talking to historian Dr. Nicole Philip Dow, who's done some research for her.
There is a family tree.
Ooh. Wow. So we have Charles William Wallace Clark. He obviously married Anne Sophia. Okay, so William Clark and Agnes Emily Langdon. They are my great-great-great-grandparents.
Yes.
Okay. And Agnes is the daughter of James Langdon of Somerset.
He is actually
Oh my goodness.
born in England and also dies
In England. In Somerset.
In Somerset.
So my roots actually bring me back to the UK.
Brings you back to
Somerset.
To Somerset. Most of the persons coming out of England into the Caribbean tended to be very, very humble beginnings.
So they were going seeking their fortunes,
Exactly.
basically.
We have a newspaper article, the Grenada Free Press and Public Gazette,
Yeah.
on the 14th of October, 1829.
A slave belonging to Ricane Estate was put to the bar for manslaughter and pleaded not guilty.
So moving to the next page,
James Langdon, sworn witness, is an overseer on Ricane Estate. So he's a slave owner.
he's an overseer on the Ricane Estate.
Wow.
So
That's, yes.
what would he have done as an overseer?
They're not a very nice human being.
Well,
Very
As-
brutal, I would imagine.
he would have had to look after the slaves. His job would have been the day-to-day
After.
running of the estate.
Yeah.
So, and part of his responsibility would be punishment of slaves as well.
It would almost be better off if he was the owner, because actually the owner's removed from the brutality, whereas James Langdon is right in the heart of all of that.
He's in the heart of it, yes.
Wow.
After the abolition of slavery came into effect in 1834, Naomie's 4 times great-grandfather James Langdon stayed in Grenada. Nicole has discovered that by 1849, he was the manager of a sugar plantation called La Sagesse.
So there is a report that I found,
Yeah.
if you read from the top here.
Report upon the present state of African immigrants introduced into the island of Grenada by the Clarendon in March 1849.
And here is
Suggests.
La Sagesse Estate.
Yeah.
All right. Person in charge,
James Langdon.
Jane Landon, and there are 19 African immigrants brought in to this estate. Yeah?
And how? Given that slavery has ended.
So I'd point you to this.
Government House, Grenada, 23rd of March, 1849. Sir, I have the honour to inform Your Excellency that the Clarendon arrived in this port on the evening of Tuesday, the 20th, having on board 248 liberated Africans. I don't understand.
Okay. Liberated Africans.
Yeah.
It's now the bringing in of indentured servants, persons to work on the estates.
After the British slave trade ended, a number of countries, including Spain and Portugal, continued to ship enslaved people to their colonies. The British Navy intercepted slave ships off the coast of West Africa and liberated their human cargo. But over 40,000 of these so-called liberated Africans ended up being taken to the Caribbean to work on British plantations. As indentured labourers, their contracts tied them to estates like La Sagesse for a fixed period, during which they could not leave.
If you were truly liberated, you'd say, I want to go home, right? You ripped me from my homeland, I want to go back to Africa.
Yes.
So what does it
So liberated here means that they're not going to be going into slavery on a Spanish plantation or a Portuguese plantation.
mean? Just on a Caribbean one?
Well, they're going to be paid,
A pittance.
5 pence per day for your first year. So you're indentured to an estate, in this case, La Sagesse estate, for about 3 years.
So they were slaves for those 3 years, basically.
We would say indentured, so they were paid. So,
But they still didn't have their liberty.
well, it's restricted, and
So
that's
it was
why
just
it's
basically a fancy way of basically the British continuing with slavery when it
very
was not
controversial.
legal.
very controversial. It's an extremely controversial system.
That means is when we say that slavery ended, it didn't in fact end for a much longer period. It continued for a much longer period.
In a different way of...
Under a different name.
Under a different name. So another similarity between slavery and this period of indentureship is that during slavery, the slaves would take the name of the estate manager or the estate owner. The exact same thing happened under indentured labor. They took the last name of the manager or the estate owner. So we do have a number of Langdons in Grenada of African descent.
In all likelihood, the people coming over from Africa are not kind of like, I'm willingly giving up my name, right? They're not like, I'd really love the name Langdon, please.
Not necessarily. No.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
I find that whole period incredibly upsetting. You know, James Langdon was involved in the slave trade, and that is repugnant and deeply upsetting and regrettable. But I think, you know, I also have to accept that that is the reality. I think if you come from the Caribbean, the likelihood of you being involved in the slave trade in some form is very high. Either you will have been you would have been a slave, or you will have been involved in the slave trade. Just turns out that my ancestors were involved in the slave trade. I feel a sense of not being particularly connected to my dad's ancestors, and I wonder when I start exploring my mother's side of the family whether I'll feel a deeper connection, and I don't know.
Naomie is travelling to Kingston, the capital of Jamaica, where she knows her mum's family lived before they moved to the UK.
I used to come to Jamaica quite a bit when I was a kid because we had family here. So coming back here, all the sense memories come back, like the smells and the tastes of the food and so on. It's a really nice feeling. It's a very familiar feeling, and I feel pretty at home here.
Naomie was raised by her mum, and her grandfather helped out with childcare.
I'm actually really surprised that I know so little about my mother's family. I don't know anything about the Harris surname. Obviously, it comes from my mother's line because I took my mother's name rather than my father's surname. But other than that, I know nothing at all. I'm most interested in finding out about my grandfather because he's a real mystery. He was such a private man, and I really don't know anything about him, despite the fact that I spent a lot of my childhood with him. I believe he was from a quite well-to-do family in Jamaica.
I always remember him being this dapper, this well turned out, this elegant, very refined man. I love looking at this photo. He's so handsome.
To begin her research, Naomie's got hold of a copy of her grandfather Jocelyn Harris's birth certificate.
So it says, birth in the district of Crossroads, parish of St. Andrew. Date of birth, 15th of January, 1921. And his name is Jocelyn Maxwell. And the name and surname of mother is Cyretta Tulloch. A dressmaker, informant, Henry Tulloch. So Henry Tulloch, I'm assuming, is Cyretta Tulloch's father. Huh. Wow, that's interesting. The father is left blank. Either Cyretta does not know who the father is, or she doesn't want to reveal who the father is, or the father doesn't want anything to do with Jocelyn. And there is no Harris. This is, oh my gosh. Where is Harris? This is a real mystery now. Maybe I'm not a Harris at all. What am I, a Tulloch? That's so... Okay, so I'm going to see if Cyretta Tulloch married a Harris. That would explain this Harris surname that I have and everyone in my family has. So Tulloch is a surname, spouse potential Harris in Jamaica, in the parish of St. Andrew. And let's see what we find. And the results that has come up, the only result, in fact, is Lorella Tulloch. This is a marriage certificate dated the 26th of September 1933. And it's the marriage between Ralph Harris and Lorella Tulloch. But actually, when we come to the signatures of Ralph and Lorella, it's actually Ralph Harris and Cyretta Tulloch. So Lorella must have been something that someone filling out the document had written and which is incorrect. Well, I'm assuming that Ralph Harris is not the father of Jocelyn, otherwise they wouldn't have waited so long to get married. Why did they wait? Why was my grandfather born in 1921 and then they waited until 1933 to get married? And if he was the father of my grandfather, then why isn't he on the birth certificate? I can only assume that he is not the father of my grandfather. He's a stepfather. But basically, this is where the Harris name comes from. The Harris name does not come from my grandfather. It comes from the stepfather of my grandfather. I'm not really a Harris. I'm actually a Tulloch. Has my whole life been a lie, basically?
Naomie is hoping that an old friend of Cyretta's may be able to tell her more about her great-grandmother and her grandfather Jocelyn. Naomie was a baby when she last saw Dorothy Davis.
Miss Dorothy!
Oh my God, Naomie!
Oh, it's so wonderful to see you.
Are you coming in?
I'm coming in, yes, yes. I want to hear what you've got to tell me.
Welcome, my darling.
I'm so excited. So, I would love to know anything you could tell me about Cyretta.
She was my friend. Any little problem I have or any little thing, I just call her and say, Sissy, she, you know, she give you comfort. She encourage you on good things.
Yeah.
This is your great grandmother.
Oh, wow. I've never seen this picture before. What were the kind of things that you would talk about?
We little business.
Like what, though?
Girl business.
What is girl business?
You know, anything about the family, about any little thing, any little gossip me hear me
That's
tell
what I
her.
want to know about. I want to know about the gossip. So did you know that Jocelyn was not Ralph Harris's son,
Well, we never discussed that.
but you knew?
We didn't discuss that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm all trying to piece it together because honestly, my grandfather really never talked about, I mean, I was too young, so I never asked him these kind of questions. So I don't really know anything about my family.
This is your grandfather.
So I have this picture.
And this is Naomi, and this is...
And my cousin Chanel. You said that I came back here to Jamaica with my grandfather and he visited you, is that right?
Yes, but you was a baby. You were a baby like this, so you wouldn't remember. Understand?
Yeah.
You going to cry? Don't cry. No, no.
No, it's happy tears though.
No.
I was really happy because
No.
it's just that
cry.
I just don't remember so much of my granddad, but I know that he really loved me. And I know I spent a lot of time with my granddad, and it's just really lovely
Yes.
that.
Your granddad love you and Chanel.
I know. Me and Chanel were always with granddad. But it means a lot to me to know that I did come back and that I meant so much to him. Yeah. And I know that he was a man of very few words, my granddad, but, you know, I call still waters, they run very deep. So I know he felt a lot. He just didn't express it.
Don't cry. Don't cry. When you cry, you're crying for joy.
I really am. I know it doesn't seem like it, but it is really just, it's just so nice to hear that they were such good people. And I knew that, but it's just lovely to hear. I didn't know that this was going to mean so much to me. I really didn't. It's amazing. I don't know, it means the world to me. It's weird.
To learn more about the family her great-grandmother Cyretta and her grandfather Jocelyn came from, Naomie has come to the Trenchtown area of Kingston to meet social historian Dr. Shani Roper.
So Shani, what do you know about Cyretta, my great-grandmother?
This is her birth certificate.
Date and place of birth. The 27th of June, 1901, Newtown, St. Andrew. And name and surname of mother, Jemima Pottinger, a housekeeper. So my great-great-grandmother is Jemima Pottinger.
And then what we have here is her father.
Henry Tulloch.
In Jamaica, we say Tulloch.
Tulloch,
Yes.
okay.
Cyretta is the first of several children between Henry and Jemima.
Okay.
This is a birth record for Cyretta's brother,
Leonard
Joseph.
Born in 19th of October 1903 in Newtown, St. Andrew. Do they have more?
Okay, so
Well, this is the death certificate. Oh my gosh, so Leonard died at just 1 month. Oh. So, certified cause of death, tuberculosis, marasmus.
and there was no real organized housing, and people lived in tenements in poor public health conditions.
But it's basically as a result of poverty, really.
It's a result of poverty.
In early 20th century Kingston, infectious diseases like TB were rife, and families like Naomie's great-great-grandparents living in overcrowded slum housing were most at risk. In 1900, Jamaica's infant mortality rate was shockingly high. 1 in 6 children died before their first birthday.
So what I heard about my grandfather, Jocelyn, was that he came from quite a well-to-do family.
You have to think about it. So your family eventually migrated. They migrated because they were looking for more. Because what they had here did not give them what they dreamed of.
Yeah.
So when you think about all of those things, poverty is the underlying problem.
Naomie's great-grandmother, Cyretta, was the eldest of Henry Tulloch and Jemima Pottinger's children. Their next child, Leonard, died at just a month old. They then had 2 daughters, but both died from gastroenteritis. Mamzelita at 1.5 years, and Ethel at only 10 months. Their 5th child was an unnamed son who died the same day he was born. Next came Henry George, a little brother for Cyretta. He survived.
So I have one other thing to show you. And this is correspondence in the Gleaner. It's Jamaica's longest running newspaper.
Government Industrial School, Stony Hill, 3rd of January 1929. Dear Sir, I have to inform you that Henry George Tulloch has, on the termination of his term here, been apprenticed to the carpentry trade at this institution. He has no desire to return to parents that habitually left him without means of support when a child. Yours truly, James J.G. Meyer, Superintendent. So what is the Stony Hill Industrial School?
Okay, school is actually established in 1869. Emerges out of the Reformatory movement for children in conflict with the law, in need of care support, found abandoned, or orphaned.
The Hart Academy, a vocational training college, stands on the same site in Stony Hill as the Reform School, where Naomie's great-grandmother's brother, Henry George Tulloch, was sent in the 1920s.
This is Stony Hill in 1910. They're all dressed in
Prison uniforms.
prison uniforms. It looks like a prison uniform.
Yeah.
It's a prison run as a school.
And how voluntary was this?
It's not voluntary.
It's
not voluntary.
Henry can't decide that, I don't want to be here anymore.
No. But what we do know is that Henry George Tulloch was admitted to the institution at age 13, and he did carpentry. The buildings that were built at the time were actually done from the labor of the children.
So the idea is to take children who are from very troubled or, quote-unquote, impoverished backgrounds and give them more opportunities in this environment.
So the superintendent is James Mayer from Scotland. In his mind, black families are unstable.
Yeah.
So he's rescuing these children, reshaping them to be good citizens for tomorrow. And so he was really very zealous in his work, even if it came from a very flawed perspective. Right? So let's look at another letter here from Mayer.
So it's dated the 31st of January, 1929. Dear Sir, an aunt in Kingston got in touch with Harry Tulloch. They call him Harry Tulloch.
Yes, but it's speaking about the same person.
Yeah. And evidently induced him to leave here as she said she was going to send him home. The boy came to me and said that he wanted to go, and I could not persuade him to change his mind.
So this stands in conflict with what Mayer said earlier, which is that George said that he didn't want to go back to his family. Mayer had created a narrative for why he wanted to keep Henry George. Henry George clearly didn't want to stay.
Right. It is most unfortunate when relatives interfere with boys whom we are trying hard to keep right. He's thrown away the opportunity of thoroughly learning his trade and given up wages, food, clothing, free medical attendance, and night classes, all to satisfy some relative.
But we can read between the lines. He wanted to go home,
Of course he did.
and so he left them.
It's amazing that they see it. You know, that he's throwing away so much just for a relative to be with his family.
He wants.
It's just such hard times, isn't it? Because it's like his mother, Jemima, went through 4 deaths of her children, and then this one at 13 gets taken away into this institution. But do we have any idea about what happened to Henry when he left?
No. But
Do
we
we-
do know that something is happening in the family.
It's another death certificate. Oh. Jemima. Tulloch.
His mother.
And it's the 7th of November that it's dated, 1930. Oh my goodness, she died in the corporation poorhouse.
Yes.
Oh. Oh no. Wow. Wow, she died in a poorhouse. My great-great-grandparents lived a really tough life.
Yes, they did. They did. I think your great-great-grandparents, Mr. and Mrs. Tulloch, worked together to give their children more. They didn't see their reward immediately, but the reward came much later. And you know, you're literally a product. In the early 1900s. But you are. That's the that is the reality of being a Caribbean or Jamaican national, right? That our forefathers worked to transform the future, and they knew they weren't going to get it now, but they were always looking forward.
It's so emotional, I can't believe it. It really affects me. It's so amazing. I'm so sad to see how they lived, and I'm so grateful for all their sacrifices, because if they didn't make them, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're getting remembered as well.
And I'm happy we found them.
Yeah.
So we have one last one.
I don't know if I can cope with any more.
No, this is a good one.
Okay, so this is the Register of Baptisms in the parish of St. Anne. And this says Easton Davis Town. Okay. And it's dated the 23rd of June, 1867. So we're going even further back now.
Yes.
And the name is Henry. So this is my great-great-grandfather. And the name of his father is Andrew Tulloch. And the name of his mother is Rebecca Goulburn. So these are my 3 times great-grandparents.
Yes.
And we have their names.
Yes.
What I immediately felt when I started researching my grandfather's line was a deep connection. And I realized that I'd been kind of searching for this kind of missing link in my childhood of being fathered, you know, because my father was absent. And what I realized when I started researching was that actually I was fathered. I was just fathered by my grandfather. And I'd forgotten that he'd fathered me because it happened such a long time ago. But for a decade or more, my grandfather was around and he acted just like a father to me. And he was much more influential and much more important in my life than I could ever have imagined. And I think I would have died not knowing what an impact my grandfather had on me if I had not done it. And that would have been incredibly sad. And I also would not have understood what an impact Sarita had on my grandfather, and therefore me and my mom and her sister and her brothers and just the entire family. We are all a product of, this ancestral line, and that's why it's such a privilege to trace it back and honor everybody that has had such an impact on us, because we would not be living the lives that we are today in the way that we are without them.
Naomie has traced her grandfather's line back to her great-great-great-grandparents, Andrew Tulloch and Rebecca Goldborn. She's on her way to Eastern Davistown in St Anne's Parish, where she knows Andrew and Rebecca lived 150 years ago. To learn more about them, she's got hold of Rebecca's baptism record.
So this is baptisms solemnized in the parish of St Anne. Okay, I think I found her. This is Rebecca, born April 1843. And these must be her parents. So it's Henry Goldborn and Letitia, his wife. So Henry and Letitia are my 4 times great-grandparents. So I know who they are, so I can trace back even further.
Naomie has now gone back 6 generations to discover that Rebecca's parents, her great-great-great-great-grandparents, were Henry Goldborn and his wife, Letitia.
I think I really started this whole process because I was intrigued. You know, I got my DNA results and I thought, I want to know where my ancestors came from.
Naomie is meeting Dr. Suzanne Frances Brown to see how far back she can trace her family line.
You're very welcome. Come on in.
So I found out the names of my 4 times great-grandparents, and I understand that you know more.
I do. So I'm going to show you this.
The record of marriages solemnized in the parish of St Anne in the county of Middlesex in the year 1839. Henry and Goldborn and Letitia Bennett, and married by banns on the 29th day of September.
They are being married by banns, which means they're being married in the church. And normally speaking, that indicates that at least one of them has been baptized.
Okay.
And that can take us to looking for a baptismal record, which of course is another way of moving back in time.
Okay, so it says a register of births and baptisms for the year 1816, May 25th, baptized the following slaves. And there we find Henry Tracy Goldborn. And it says ditto.
So slave.
Ditto slave to Belmont. And this is, yeah, definitely what I expected to find in my heritage. And it's just wonderful that I can put names to, you know, my 4 times great-grandfather. That's incredible.
Is early in the for Caribbean records. It's pretty early record, especially for the enslaved people. It's quite a special thing.
And above, we have Forbes Tracy Goldborn, and that's also ditto to him being a slave, and it says to Bellevue. So they must be related.
And this is his brother. There's probably a miswriting in the record. And the likelihood is that both of them actually are from the Bellevue property, which is here in St Anne.
So this is the Bellevue estate?
I would tend to call it a property more than an estate, in the sense that we're looking at like 50 acres of land. It's not like one of the huge sugar estates. And the word Bellevue literally means beautiful view.
Yeah. So what kind of crops would have been grown on this estate?
There could have been possibly coffee, possibly something like ginger or pimento. Possibly they're growing it for themselves, but with a little bit for sale.
Okay.
So it's not like a large sugar estate or anything like that. The people who lived here, the people who owned the property, would have known Henry and his brother from the time when they were small children. They would have known them by name. They would have watched them grow, so to speak.
Child slaves were set to work as young as possible. Naomie's 4 times great-grandfather Henry and his brother Forbes are likely to have worked Bellevue's fields from the age of just 6.
I'd like to say that it feels sorrowful and I can connect to the suffering that must have happened here, but actually it's beautiful. But I can also imagine that it must have been an unforgiving environment to be working in. There's a massive disconnect between this Bellevue, which it really is a stunning view, and the horrendous suffering that must have happened here.
Suzanne's research has revealed more about Henry and his brother Forbes, who were enslaved on the Bellevue property.
So I'm going to show you this.
And a return of slaves in the parish of St. Anne in the possession of William Levers in the year of our Lord, 1817.
All right, so essentially a return of slaves was a document listing all the persons who were enslaved on your property, and you had to do it every 3 years from 1817 up to 1832.
Right.
And this is about Bellevue. So here are the names.
So there we have James, Edward, Forbes. So that's Forbes Goulburn. And then Henry Tracy Goulburn.
Right.
Okay. Ooh. And there's a Thomas Goulburn. And they're calling their colours Negro, Sambo, right? Sambo. So what does that mean?
Okay, so essentially at that time, if you were half white and half black, you were what was called mulatto. And then if you were 3/4 black and a quarter white, you were a Sambo.
Ah.
So
okay.
It's weird and uncomfortable in a certain way.
And we have African or Creole.
Right. So Creole is someone born in Jamaica.
Right.
And African, obviously, somebody born in Africa.
And then the mothers. All these children belong to Elizabeth Levers. She's the mother of all of them.
And here she is.
Wow.
So her name is Elizabeth Levers, and it is not uncommon for persons to take the same last name as the owner of that estate.
Okay.
So here
38. She's 38 in 1817. So she was Negro and she was African.
Right.
So she would have been brought from Africa to Jamaica as a slave and then had all of these children.
That's right.
So she's my 5 times great-grandmother.
That's right.
I found out my 5 times great-grandmother.
And she came from Africa.
Yes. Probably Nigeria.
It's certainly very likely that that's where your Nigerian ancestry is coming from.
Wow. But that is absolutely incredible. When I started this whole journey, I would never have thought I would get back to the 18th century, back to Africa. I am so over the moon about that. I mean, that's the origin of my family, right there. Right, so because 3 of her children have this name Goulburn, I am assuming that the father must be a Goulburn.
It's a good
So
suggestion.
who is Goulburn?
We do have a good candidate for him. So I need to take a look at this.
A register of baptisms for the parish of St. Anne in the year 1817. Okay, so there's Benny Coombs Goulburn.
There you go.
William Tracy Goulburn, a free person of colour, was baptised on the 24th of September.
Right.
A free person of colour,
That's right.
which means that,
He's not enslaved.
and now he isn't fully black.
That's right.
So he is mixed race.
Yes.
Most probably.
He is mixed race.
Which is why the children are classified as Sambo.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting choice for William, because William's a free man,
Yeah.
and then he's having children with Elizabeth, who is enslaved, which means that his children
Are slaves.
become slaves.
Yes. It means that the owner must have in some way allowed or been compliant in this ongoing relationship.
Right.
I have another document that I can show you.
Yeah.
So this is another return of slaves. Okay, so
In the parish of St. Anne, on the 28th day of June, in the year of our Lord, 1832.
this is the final return before the end of slavery.
Yes.
This is 1832.
Right. Elizabeth,
Listed
that is
in
my
this-
5 times great-grandmother.
That's right.
So in 2 years, we see the abolition of slavery.
That's right.
And 4 years later, she would have been released.
She would have been totally free, what we
Yes.
call in Jamaica full free.
And we know that in 1832, here she is, and she seems to be, well, she's definitely alive, and hopefully she's doing well. So in 6 years, she may well have got her freedom, married William, and lived as a free woman.
It's a great possibility.
I never thought when I got my DNA results and I found out that I was 48% Nigerian, that I would find out who that DNA comes from. I really did not think I would be able to go back that far. And it's incredible to know who my 5 times great-grandmother is, my 5 times great-grandfather. It makes me feel really complete. It's just given me a greater understanding of the sacrifices of so many generations, you know, the real hardships that they went through. And I feel so privileged to be in this position now to reap the benefits of all of that, all of those hardships, all of those sacrifices that they made. So I'm in this incredibly privileged position, and I feel like it really fills me with the desire to make the very most of that.